What is happening, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Weekly, and it is just Kat and myself for tonight. Mr. Fowler had some work to do, and he had to sleep. So we all know that his schedule is opposite from all of us. He sleeps during the day, but he didn't go to bed till like late. So because he had to work. So like I said, you guys will see him next week. So it'll just be Kat and myself doing the discussion this week. It'll be a fun show, though. We got some a fun topic to talk about this week, especially when it comes to like comic books just in general, about how much is too much. Like, when do you read too many comics, or when are you spending too much on comic books? So there's a lot to discuss there. So
how do you cut them out? How do you drop stuff? Because that's always hard too.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to start with some news first. There's not a ton of news, but there's some pieces to talk about. First is a new Wolverine game trailer. I didn't see the trailer. I don't know. With the superhero games, I tend not to get them. But, I like little phone games with the superhero stuff. Like, I like the Marvel Snap. But it's hard. Like, look, when your day-to-day is superheroes all day or comic books all day, if I'm going to play a video game, it's most likely not going to be superhero related. Because I'm doing that on the day-to-day. Like, I'm probably not going to do that as, like, my break. And then maybe for work, if it's like, okay, I'm going to review this to tell you guys how it is. But for the most part, I don't usually play the superhero video games.
I will play it because my son will probably buy it. You know what I'm saying? But I saw the trailer, and my gosh, it looks flipping amazing.
That's cool.
It is so good looking. It is so violent. It just has Wolverine like gutting people like crazy. There's this one scene towards the end of it where he comes face to face with a Sentinel, and just the scale of the Sentinel and Wolverine himself is just, it's so cool, man. And and it looks like the way you heal in the game, from what I'm aware of, is like the more people you beat up, the more you heal. I think that's the way it was. So, because he does get hurt, and you got to figure out a way to actually heal in the game, and otherwise you could just hide and heal the whole time.
I mean, it sounds like they definitely came up with a game for Wolverine, which is cool. Like, it's not, that was one I did play with Spider-Man for a little while, because that was like a very Spider-Man-esque game. And I did like, as obviously a Spider-Man fan, I had a good time with that. But yeah, it sounds like, again, it's actually specific to Wolverine and not like a skin of another superhero game.
No, it looks flipping good. And the cutscenes in it look great. I mean, you would think that this thing is some kind of animated movie or something, because it just looks that great.
That's cool. Now we're going to get into some comic stuff. So first we have, Lenny is agreeing. The new Silver Surfer. So I've been reading the Death of Silver Surfer, and they kind of reveal it in this issue, like who it is. And obviously we know because of the news piece though. And I kind of wish they waited just another issue, because she's not Silver Surfer in this issue, but in the end they show the cover of issue 4. So you're like, okay, I guess she's gonna be Silver Surfer. I've been enjoying this series. I don't know how long this character will last as Silver Surfer. Like, she's enjoyable, but I don't know if she's like Silver Surfer enjoyable. But I like the series a lot, and we'll see where it goes.
I mean, like, is she deserving to be a Silver Surfer, the Silver Surfer?
No, I don't believe so, Elise. I think, like, if you guys don't know her character, she's someone who is against Norn for a really long time because of like her job. She like works in the military, and then her mom dies. And then she kind of realizes, oh, maybe I was like too hard on Norrin. And that's kind of her story. But again, it's not, I think the character that was in Dan Slott's run, we got to spend more time with, I would almost understand if she became Silver Surfer in that run. It was like, oh, we spent so much time with her. But this, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just, at this point, I just feel like it's like it's like how many like different Hawkeyes, different Silver Surfers, different Hulks, different Spider-Mans, different Daredevils. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of just like,
It's the only
just
trick they have.
I'm kind of over that. It's like we've done that. It's like ever since they did a different Spider-Man, it's like we got to come up with a different version of the same character, and it's kind of like, well, what's wrong with the current character that you have? You know, I mean, and it's just I don't know, man. It just all these years, nothing's been wrong with Silver Surfer. Now all of a sudden he's dead, and we have his replacement. You know.
I think the reason is because of the movie, because it's a female version in the movie. But I mean, I feel like Norrin in particular, you could like you could make a Mystique and like shift him. Like that would be a better. Like I feel like that would be like if you really want to make him a female character. But yeah, I don't disagree, and I think that's been kind of a problem with obviously superhero comics, but I think in particular Marvel as of recent is that they don't know what to do with their characters, so they do just say, oh, okay, Spider-Man's a new person, or Silver Surfer's a new person, instead of making Norrin have an arc and do something different with him.
Give him a real story. Like,
no.
Yeah, let's just kill him off, and then let's make this new person, the Silver Surfer. So now we can do different stories with this new person, and it's kind of like, well. I don't know, man. It's just they did it with the Punisher. You know what I'm saying? Like the Joe Garrison guy or whatever his name
really
was.
work. I feel
they did the one series, and now he's back. So it's just like they've literally have done it with pretty much every single character when I think about it, And so it's just like, to me, that's like I don't know. I feel like you're out of ideas. That's just the way I look at it. At this point.
Oh, I definitely don't disagree. And again, like this is just a mini series. I don't even know where this goes. It almost feels like they're doing it just to do it, because it's not like he has a series that he's going to be in unless it like plays a part of Fantastic Four or they announce another series, which I don't think they will. But
she could be just one of those characters now from this point until who knows when, where she just shows up in random books,
Mm-hmm.
And then Fantastic Four will be like, hey, look, who's the new Silver Surfer? And, and stuff like that. But she doesn't have her own, book.
This book will get canceled. It is a mini series, so it's just got to end.
Yeah, there's no ongoing. I think this book, it was created just to make this female Silver
100%.
Surfer. Yeah.
And again, I do think it's because of the movie. They just tend to do that. All right, let's get into the next thing, which is Webtoon is now partnering with Boom Studios to do Vertical Scroll comics.
Good.
Which honestly, out of any of the publishers, this is the one I think that fits really well for Webtoon. Because like in the Marvel, they picked like the John Romita Jr., the Zeb Wells John Romita Jr. run for Spider-Man. I'm like, that's such a weird pick for like teens to read. I don't think that's going to be what they like. I think they would like a Miles Morales or Spider-Gwen
more.
Like,
hey, we can give that one away for free.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
They don't mind that. But yeah, the Webtoon like fence is great. They had Lumberjanes. I'm like, oh, that fits so well. And again, it just gets
I like it because it's independent stories.
Mm-hmm.
It's still the comic form, obviously, but it's just something away from superhero comics that you can totally get into. It's a good idea. Really is.
I 100% agree. So that is cool. And believe it or not, we're up to our last news piece, which is Image Comics announces a 27-day comic shop exclusive window for their trades, which I think is great. Obviously, right?
Great idea.
And also, it's not that long. So Barnes & Noble people, they'll get it 30 days later, but it gives comic shops the opportunity to sell these books. And I think that's great for both people, retailers, and obviously the comic book publishers. Barnes & Noble maybe not too much, but they're going to get those sales anyways.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like, oh yeah, they're going to wait 30 days. Those people are still going to be there to buy those books 30 days later, or they're so excited they go to a comic book store and go get it instead.
That's exactly right. Like if you sit there and you say, oh my God, we got this Rook Exodus coming out, or Hyde Street's coming out, or Geiger's coming out, and people have been telling me to read it, and I've been waiting for the trade, and it's coming out in the comic book shop. I'm going to go to the comic book shop. It just gives them a little bit of an opportunity to get those sales before those big box stores, and I think that's a great idea because they're thinking of those comic shops by doing that.
Yeah, and that's what's important to keep retailers alive for sure. But the comic book shop does all the legwork, and then Barnes & Noble gets all the benefits if it's not done this way. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's where I think companies have to figure out, how do you make the comic book store get benefits? Because obviously Barnes and Noble has a bigger audience than a comic book store, just because a lot of people are just going in and out. So obviously there's benefits to be at a Barnes and Nobles with trades. And also trades and graphic novels is where the money is at. The floppies do not make a lot of money for comic book publishers, and the trade is cheaper to print. So
Yeah, it's a reprint.
Exactly. It's a
Yeah.
reprint A, so you already paid for your art. But then
Yep.
B, it is literally cheaper to print. Like, it's compared to what you're selling it for. So like a floppy's $5. Let's say it costs you, if you're a big company, $1 each issue.
Right.
Then you're making $4 off of it. But also the retailers get 50% of that. So like it's the margins are smaller. But for graphic novels, let's say it costs $3 to make each a unit, and then you're selling it for 20. That's a lot easier to make money. So that's why the graphic novels are so important. But yeah, good for them. Really happy about that. And I think we are going to go into our main topic. So we're going to talk about how many comics, especially you had, and even me. Like, I used to get more like 12 comics a week. Now it's getting to 15, 20. I know that I had a week close to 30 a few weeks ago. And I'm like, oh, now we're getting to a point where we got to make some cuts. So Mike, especially for you who did read 30 comics this week, like, how you feeling? Do you feel like this is positive or negative?
Man, I tell you, I read, I think it was 31 or 32 or 33, so somewhere close around there. And I want to say like 8 of those books were new number ones, which I do it for my show. So that's one of the reasons why. But we have so many new issue ones coming out every single week that it's insane. Like, I think next week, I recorded first issue Fridays for next week. There's 39 new number ones coming out all together.
Crazy.
Yeah,
no, that's nuts.
So that's all together. And some of them are smaller publishers that might not even get a chance, but that's a lot. That is a lot. And so when you're constantly adding even 1 or 2 of those every single week, right, to your pull list, then your pull is going to get pretty large, right? And a lot of series don't wrap up as quickly as those new number ones come out. So, yeah, man, that is crazy. It's a lot. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I got all my reading done by Friday, which is good. But it was a lot. I was exhausted. It can be overwhelming. You can forget things in some of the stories at times if you try to read too much at one time.
Especially if they're mediocre. Like, if it's like something that's a very point A to point B, it's easier to forget than like something maybe that will like impress you. When you're impressed by it, like there's weeks ago, like that zombie book we read. Like, I'm very excited for that issue too. But that's one like I keep thinking about because it's a really good issue. But the ones that are those point A to point Bs, maybe something like that, the Silver Surfer this week, where I'm like, oh, that was fine. But you know, maybe I won't remember it because I read 20 books. So I don't disagree. And I think for people like us, we're always going to buy it, but it's hard for people who are really cutting. And for me in particular, and why I haven't gotten to 30, is I really try picking and choosing because I don't want to read books I dislike. You know, sure. I just really like, if I'm not enjoying it, that's why half the time I don't read event books, because I tend not to like them. And B, they tend not to do anything for the universe. So I'm just like, they usually just don't do it. I usually get the issue 1 to review it, and then after that, I'm like, I don't really need more of this. So unless it's good, like I'm still very excited for DCKO. There's been events that I followed through, but not many events. But yeah, it's really hard to pick and choose because of it. And I know, and I think it's also because DC is probably having a little bit more titles than they used to, because I know they've really limited it, and now they're getting a little more. But it's also Marvel. Marvel's releasing so much.
Yeah, I think with DC, I just think part of the issue there is that they actually have good titles. So it was like it was very easy for me not to read DC because I've always been the Marvel person. And so I was like, oh, I would read something from DC. It wasn't very good, and I was fine with that. Now the DC comics are like really flipping good, and the Marvel comics, not so much. But again, I stay true to Marvel. Like, I constantly read them no matter what. And, you know, obviously some of them are just very, like you said, mediocre, and that's why I'm kind of this time around when it comes to Age of Revelation, like I'm I'm being very choosy about the newest issue ones coming out from that event, because I know a
KO's
lot of
coming out at
them
the
are
same
probably
time.
not going to be great,
Yeah, and KO is going to be around the same time as coming out. So it's like,
Yes.
oh, you're going to want to get more KO. No, I agree. You got to be choosy, and I think that's the way to do it. And it's hard because I like having a lot of options. Like, I'm glad all these books exist, but also, are they oversaturating themselves? Especially on the Marvel side, I think they're definitely oversaturating themselves. And I love seeing a lot of indie books, and I want people to give more of them a try, but it's hard when Marvel and DC, and again, more Marvel has so many books, like people won't give those indie books a chance. It's like, oh, I'm already buying so many Spider-Man, and I'm just like, I think either, no matter what, in my opinion, and hopefully I'll give you guys my 2 cents, get the indie book. Like, if you're really torn between the third Spider-Man or the indie book, I hope you get the indie book.
Yeah. And I think that's part of it too, though. Also, there's more indie books than ever
That are selling well
within the
too.
past couple years that have
Mhm.
been so good,
Yeah.
like so good. So when you look at all the Ghost Machine stuff, I know you don't read all that
Mhm.
stuff, but for me, like all that stuff is good. When you look at all the Energon stuff, like all that stuff is good. It's like it's constant. And I know a lot of people read all the Spawn stuff too. So it's just like there's just so much out there right now. And then you add with the Absolute Batman and Wonder Woman and those books too. So that's all a newer line. So people are jumping on board with those, right? And then Marvel just had books forever, where they always had a ton of books, like ton of X-Men books. So it's just like I think at this point in time, if you're looking to cut, it would be Marvel. And that's a shame. But they, out of anybody right now, have the weakest books. They really, really do.
They do, and that's really the sad part. And I remember there was like one week where they had like 10 books coming out, let's say, and then I got one. I think it was like Amazing Spider-Man. I was like, how is that possible? I'm getting like one Marvel book, and then the rest, the indies were high, and then the DC were high. So yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. And then someone mentioned Mark Spears. Like, yeah, Mark Spears was making amazing numbers for something that's not an Image Comics, and I love seeing that, to see like an up and coming indie company like Keen Spot do so well, and it shows the power of art and the power of having a style, which is really, really cool too. So but
Yeah.
yeah, there's a ton of books out there. You got to pick and choose. I think Marvel's got to up their game to kind of stay in the running and keep getting those indie books. There's just so many great stuff, and that doesn't include OGNs, right? Kickstarters, webtoon. There's like just a plethora of things to read. And that's like, I love it, but I'm also like, you gotta choose. You gotta choose what you're gonna read.
What is your sweet spot when it comes to comics? Like if you had an ideal number, right?
Yeah.
And this little voice in your head says, "Man, should I get this one or should I get that one? Maybe I should get it." Like if you had that willpower where you could actually just stick to a number every single week, what would it be?
I think 12. I think 12 is a really good set for me, because again, I read it all in one day too. So like
Yeah.
that's good to read in one day. I would even say 15, but I think even at that point, I'm like, oh, that's a lot. But I think 12 is my magic number. I feel like that's feels like a good set. When you get to the 20s, for me personally, I'm like, that's a lot of books. But I know probably for you, that's your average is 20.
Yeah, I mean, if I had like
Yeah.
17 books to
Mhm.
read a week, that would be like easy cakewalk for me, because I do 7 new number ones every single week. So I read those 7 issues from Wednesday to Thursday, because then I have to record worthy ones, right? So then that will leave me 10 books left to read before I do after the poll, which is on Mondays. So that gives me Friday, Saturday, Sunday to read 10 books, which is easy. But when you have 33 books and you've read 7 of them,
No, yeah, it's
now
a
you
lot.
still have like what, 24 books left or 25 books, whatever it is left to read. that's a lot. That's a lot of books. I think I spent most of Friday from morning till like late afternoon reading all of those books to make sure I got them done in time so I can record that episode.
It takes a long time to read. Yeah, I think like for me, I get usually to start reading like 12:30 and I will finish around 4 or 5. So it takes me about 4 to 5 hours to read stuff. And then like that's on top of record your video, edit, and then, get it out. I usually end my night around 9, so it's like really all day. You go to the comic book store, read it all, and then edit and do all that. And obviously we prepare for this show too by reading all our comics and doing that. And again, we love it. It's so funny because I think there's a world of like, oh, that's exhausting. There's a lot, but it's just like, I love doing it. So that's something that it's like, it's weird because my job is running a comic book publishing company and writing, and that's the actual job. But this reading comics and doing this is the hobby, which is so strange because they're so close to each other.
Right.
But it's the thing I enjoy doing. It is the thing that's like still the hobby part of like my job.
I mean, I feel like there's nothing better than to go to the shop, right? Or the morning of you get ready to go and you go to the shop and those new books are there and you're looking around and you're trying to find stuff and making sure you have everything. Like, I love that. Like, I absolutely love it. I love talking to the people there. Obviously, there's people that are local that know who I am. And obviously we talk to, and that's great. And I love recording my comic book haul in the car and stuff like all that is awesome. And then reading those brand new books, like those first newest issue ones, like it's kind of awesome because you're just like, oh man, I wonder if this is going to be good or if this is going to suck. And then you just get those really highly anticipated books, like, that are out for that week and you can't wait to read that. Like that Wednesday, Thursday is really, really good. And then by the time though I do get to Sunday, I'm like, after reading 20 something books, you're kind of over it at that point, that week, because it's just like, there's so many. That's why I say like 17 books for me would be ideal. 20 something books is fine. It's when you get to the 30s for me, it's just like, that's out of control. That's where it's at the point where I got to sit there and go, yeah, I need to make some cuts. And it's not because a comic is bad. It's just like when I look at some of the other things that I'm reading, it's just not as good. I mean, I'll make a perfect example here right now. There's 2 books that I think are pretty good, but they're not necessary for me to read. And one is Immortal Legend Batman, which I think is a fine book, but it's just something that when I read 30 something books for me this week, it was a very forgettable book when you look at the grand scheme of things.
No, and I felt the same for the first issue.
And same with Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like
the 3rd time they're doing it now.
Again, it's a fine book. It's fun, but it's like one of those things where it's just like, do you really absolutely need it? Is there any continuity? Is it something that you really truly remember out of all of the comic books you read for the week? Not really. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you hate to make those decisions, but you have to. Sometimes you're forced to,
Mortal Thor was that for me because I remember I thought the first issue was fine. I liked it enough. And if I had all the time in the world, I would have read issue 2. But I was like, no, I got to cut it. So I didn't read issue 2. There's others too. And then also even talking about when you have a lot of books and what we do, like the rankings get a lot harder. Like when I have a lot of issues, and again, I love the ranking aspect of it. My friends make fun of it all the time. It's like one of my friends, she sent me this chart and it was like, rank all your favorite albums since you were born. And she's like, oh, Kat, you'll have fun because I know you like ranking stuff. And I was like, cool. And it's just between us, like between me and my friends that we're doing it. It's not for work or anything. And then I'm doing it in front of her because we're like watching like a movie in the background. And I'm like, looking, she's like, you've been doing that for 2 hours. I'm like, yeah, I want to know what my favorite album is. She's like, it took me 10 minutes, Kat. You don't have to be so serious about it. But I'm like, no, I like to rank things. I like being very specific. So when you have 30 comic books, it's so much harder to like rank what's your favorite because they all kind of get muddled, especially those middle books.
Yeah. I got this from George here. He says, He says, Mike, you need to cut the variants. You would save a shitload of money if you cut the damn variants. So I don't mind spending money on variants because the thing is I'm not looking to like capitalize and make money off of variants. I love artwork. So there's like, obviously comic books is more than just reading these days, right? It's obviously, there's different ways to collect. You can collect to be a seller, you can collect to read, you can collect for the cover art, and that's what I like. I love cover art. And so when you have a really cool cover and sometimes you get multiples of them, then you buy multiple covers. I don't mind spending the money on it, And then eventually, if I feel like that I no longer want it or I want to sell it, then I'll sell it in one of my garage sales and that's it. And I'm not looking to make a profit of it. I usually sell those things like half price if I want to. But I love the cover art, man. I think it's great. That's what makes comics the way that they are,
And especially like I think for us, we're not as much looking to cut because of the money, which obviously you should if you're trying to cut for budgetary reasons. But for me, it's more time. It's more of like I want time to enjoy my comics. So when I have a lot, I don't enjoy as much. And I think it's more for you too, Mike, or else you wouldn't go all out on the variants. I think it's more of like you want more time to enjoy your books than budgetary reasons.
Because you just don't want to be bogged down by that,
Yeah, 100%. This is a fun topic. If you guys have any questions about it, let us know for sure. And I'm sure we'll talk about some cuts we'll have from this week. Before we get into comics, though, I do want to mention I do have a Kickstarter going on right now, so I will screen share so you guys could see that. It's the comic shop, so it's based on a web show that's going on about a Black-owned comic book store. It's a comedy. It's like an Abbott Elementary show. And this is the comic book tie-in. So if you like Joe Willage, who's doing a Spawn book right now, Stephanie Williams, who's doing Street Sharks, and did Niobe for DC Comics, Cody Ziegler, that's doing Miles Morales, Deadpool, they're all writers for this. So go check it out. Really excited about it. And we'd love to get it funded so we can make this book possible. So go check it out. And that's it from my side. We do have some questions. Joseph G asks, what are your 5 favorite albums? Well, I don't know if I could share because then it wouldn't be the hobby part. But like I know like Dua Lipa was in there. I had some Kesha. I really like Gag Order, Beyonce. So I had a lot of pop stuff, but then I had some like American Idiot in there, so it was like a good variety, but I enjoyed it.
You were talking about like ranking the comics, and so I started to the point with my After the Pool series where I stopped basically just like grading the comics all together for that series and just started ranking them, and I rank them in Marvel, DC, and independent. So there's like my top 5 in Marvel, my top 6 in DC, and then my top, 5 in independents. So I kind of rank them through that way. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and it's fun to do, like depending on the different rankings, and it's cool. I have a good time doing that, and I'm sure you do too. It just makes it, I don't know, it just adds another element to it because you could just be reading your comics and that's it. But that's like part of the hobby that I enjoy is like, what did I enjoy more? I have like
it gives you like a purpose almost like to read the comics. Like
exactly,
it gives you more incentive to do it, right? I mean, obviously we read them because we enjoy them, but we want to read them so we can discuss them. And then, it creates this conversation,
It's like the letterbox of comics. Like you watch a movie and you feel happy when you put it in your letterbox. It's the same thing for comics. But yeah, I've been using this iPad, which is an old iPad. I only use it for rankings. And this is like rankings all the way, I think from 2014. Yeah, 2014. It goes on.
That's so funny.
Because I have like every ranking that I've ever done in this iPad. Hopefully it never gets destroyed. But yeah, any other stuff, or do we want to jump into comic books?
Yeah, let's go jump into some comics here. Let's talk about them. All right. So Yes, unfortunately, Brant couldn't be here tonight, so we will miss his discussion. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about Wonder Woman issue 25. So this was the first book that I jumped on for Wonder Woman in quite some time because I wanted to see what
You've been
this
missing so much.
matriarch character was. Like the variant cover I picked up with her on it, that's the one I wound up getting because, yes, the artwork looked badass. She looked badass. It's her first cover appearance. And so I was like, what's this about? And then you got these like mouse kids running around saying the same shit over and over and over again. I'm like,
Do you know that's been happening for 4 issues in a row?
that's
4
ridiculous.
issues. I was gonna drop it last issue, but then one of my viewers was saying like, "Oh, the new villain shows up. You should pick up the next issue." But that has been going on for 4 issues. That every single word is that. It's not even as bad as this issue. At least had other words. The other issues only said that over and over and over again.
The only thing that makes me might want to pick up the next issue is because I want to see if they focus on this character a little bit more to see if like what she's about. Like I want to know what her powers are, where she comes from, why does she have the Legion ring? Why does she have a Green Lantern ring? Like that interests me. And then when you're got these stupid mouse kids, I'm like, what the hell is this, man? I'm like, oh God, I can't stand his writing. It drives me crazy. It really does.
It gets too bogged down. As you know, and I've been reading Wonder Woman since, I really like the beginning of this run. But as Lewis said, Tom King doing Tom King stuff, it just gets so poetic and repetitive, and the pacing's not for me, which is so interesting because the art is so good. Like it's like with this beautiful artwork, but it's just like continues not to be for me. I'm sure it's for other people because obviously there's a lot of people that love Tom King's writing, but it's just I can't get into it, and I will most likely drop it because I've been reading this 25 issues straight, and when she was still saying the mouse stuff and doing the ear stuff, I'm like, I'm done. I can't anymore.
We got a comment in there saying that she's a Wonder Woman from the future.
Oh, interesting. I mean, again, and that's connected to the Wonder Girl stuff too, which I liked the Wonder Girl stuff, but I knew Tom King was going to do Tom King. So I was like, that was one where I was like, I like this series enough, but not enough to keep it for my pull list to be so large.
Right. All right. So let's talk about Ultimate Spider-Man issue 21. This was one of my, I think, second lowest ranking book from Marvel this week. I was, first of all, obviously, Kat, you know, I'm not a Mr. Negative fan. I don't care what universe that dude is in. And I didn't care about his little backstory with his sister and everything else like that. We don't even get Peter in this. Forget Spider-Man. Peter Parker is nowhere to be found in this comic book. And I'm like, the description said, you know, something about fighting the Sinister Six in this issue. And that didn't even happen in here. So I'm like, where did they get that description from? And I'm like, we got like 3 issues left. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, no, I that's the part that I didn't love about this issue is knowing how little issues we have left. So this was probably my least favorite of the series thus far. Again, I still like the book. I like the ending. I enjoyed the art, but it's not my favorite of the Ultimate Spider-Man issues at all. I just thought it was really slow. And yeah, I agree with the Mr. Negative stuff. It just like pulled me out, and it wasn't as interesting of an issue.
The only thing that got me was like the end. The last page was like decent, you know?
Exactly. I agree.
So that was that. So I don't know, man. And I agree. Like if the book was not ending, maybe it'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? But knowing that this creative team is ending the book, for at least for right now, it's a problem. It's definitely a problem. All right.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes a difference.
Right. So now we'll talk about probably one of the most anticipated books of the week is Skinbreaker issue 1. This is a book that's been a long time in the making. David Finch is the artist on there. Robert Kirkman is the writer. And I thought this was a good book. It did not make my top 5. It was close. I debated about it. But the thing is it's very much Robert Kirkman. He gives you very little. I mean, he gives you a decent amount. Obviously, he introduces the characters, he introduces the culture, he introduces like the ritual and things like that, and a possible, enemy and threat and stuff like that. But I think his main thing in this issue was, let me have David Finch showcase his beautiful artwork in this book. And I felt like there was not as much story as maybe as some of the other books that he has released in the past. That's my thought on it.
No, I felt the same way, and I'm not a big fantasy person, so I did not feel as hooked. I am really happy to see how many people like this book, but I kind of wish they did the firepower way, where they had the whole origin story as a graphic novel, and then they went into the story, because that would have helped a lot more. I felt like if I'd never heard of Robert Kirkman and David Finch, this wouldn't have pulled me in for issue 2. Honestly, I probably won't pick up issue 2 because I'm not a fantasy person, but because I just didn't love the story, if I'm being honest. I didn't feel hooked at all. It just like, I get they had the ritual. Then you're like, they obviously debated with the sun and what's going to happen to the sun. You learn about the skin breaker aspect, but there wasn't anything there for me to be like, I like this. Obviously good art.
I was getting Black Panther vibes in this one, challenge the leader type of thing. That's what I was getting out of that.
Skinbreaker's only an 8-issue miniseries. That's crazy.
And is it really?
The first issue. That's crazy.
I didn't know. I guess it makes sense, because I guess this was a long time in the making, right? You know what I'm saying? And I think it makes sense that it's definitely finite story. So,
and David Finch being on the art, like, I'm sure he's not like damn Wara fast, I'm sure like they've been putting this in the bucket. I also thought the book was really yellow. That was something that I was like, oh, I kind of wish there was a little bit more diversity in the colors. But I know I'm the minority on this. I know a lot of people love this book, but I like a good character story. And because it was so much about world building, I couldn't get into it, but I respect the book. And I do think it should have been a graphic novel first. Or no TN in particular, I think would have been better.
I mean, maybe, again, this was just that introduction and things might ramp up. You know what I'm saying? So
if issue 2 is a lot better, Mike, when you read it, let me know and I will read issue 2. But if not, I don't know if I'll get the next issue. And also depends on the week. If it's a big week, I probably will drop it. But if it's like I'm getting 10 books, I'll be like, I'll check out Skinbreaker issue 2.
I agree when it comes to like the yellow and the orange vibes, because right from the start, like they camouflaged into their trees, into their atmosphere, which is fine. I can get that behind that. But then the background, like the sun and everything, was very much that same color. So it made them hard to see. So, they like blended in. They were camouflaged, So I'm looking forward to the second issue. I definitely want to see where it goes here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Void Rivals issue 23. I don't want to spend any time on it because you don't read it, but for me,
I don't think we did our number 5, so we should.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, go for your number 5.
Mine was, let me see. I think it was Black Cat. Black Cat issue 2. I'm having a fun time with this book. I do think it's still getting its bearings, like of what the series is and her being an anti-hero. Right. But I like the voice. I like the art a lot. I like the style. It's very G. Willow Wilson in the regard of like she builds a world around the person. And I like that. So I think it has a lot of potential. But it's not quite at number 1 level yet.
I liked the first issue better than this one. I wasn't like fond of the job that she was doing in this one with the vampire and stuff like that. So I wasn't like really into that part of it, because there's that vampire that shows up like at the end. But what I like is more of that grounded stuff where she's dealing with like Tombstone keeping tabs on her, Sandman following her around. Like, I like that stuff. I think the artwork is very pretty. I think this book will definitely have, I think it will grow as time goes along. It needs time for G. Willow Wilson to tell her story, kind of like how she did with Poison Ivy. So I'm definitely thinking that this is going to be a solid book as time goes along.
I definitely agree. Again, it just needs to ramp up a bit, but there's a lot of potential. So what was your number 5?
My number 5 was Hyde Street issue 9. Just a really well done book. I mean, it's just a book that constantly focuses on the characters getting introduced into Hyde Street. And this time around, it was focused around the plastic surgeon here. And, he comes from a very sick father, that would constantly do these jobs. And he kind of fell into his footsteps, and he did all these botched up jobs, and he wound up being on Hyde Street. You learn everything about the character in here. And I love it, man. I love every single character that is in this comic book series. It is one of the best horror stories out there right now because it's a true story. It's not just a anthology story and then that's it. It's an
Because they're connected to the same world, all the people that they're
yeah,
talking
exactly.
to.
All the characters are connected in some way, shape, or form. They got to escape Hyde Street. They're trying to get those 10,000 souls, and they all interact with each other in some weird way, which is insane. So you always look forward to the next issue, and you never know what you're going to get in it. So it's very unpredictable that way. All right. So going back to Void Rivals now that we did our number 5, Void Rivals, another solid read, right? We kind of get to see what happens when the two factions unite with each other in the last issue. We wind up getting to see the character by the name of Scuzoid. He's going through a division once again. If you read the book, you know what I would be talking about. But overall,
read the first issue, so I don't think I read Scud Void.
Yeah. So overall, I mean, it's just a great book. It's a very much under the radar book, even I think in the grand scheme of the Energon universe. And so I'm just going to tell people out there, I think you should read it. It was really good.
We do have a question for Parker Luck. For the two of you, do you like John Hickman's plotting, which starts strong but ends up flawed outcome? I normally don't like Hickman's writing ever, except for Ultimate Spider-Man. So I don't usually, because I think it's always really grand, and in exactly what you say, it's always grand, and then the outcome's like, oh, that's what you're leading to.
Out.
Yeah, I hope that's not this. Like, I've been enjoying Ultimate Spider-Man throughout the whole run, and I hope it's a cool ending. But yeah, I'll say Spider-Man has been the odd one out for me with Hickman's writing.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Ultimate Spider-Man has been really good, but right now, these past two issues, it seems like it's fizzling out, or it's just a stall until we get to the end, right? And then with X-Men, we wind up seeing what happened with X-Men. That's
also because he left to do that Substack stuff, so that's why it's always hard to tell what was going to happen with Krakoa, because we don't know what his grand plan was for that.
Yeah. And then he's done other stuff too, like I did like his Secret Wars run. I thought that one was actually really good. And his whole Battle World vision was really good as well. So there's certain things that he has done that I've enjoyed, but then there's also certain things where I'm just like, no, So he's a hit and miss, I think. All right. So now we're going to talk about Ultimate Hawkeye issue 1.
It's a one-shot miniseries?
It's a one-shot.
I didn't read it because it's connected to Ultimates, so I don't read
okay.
Ultimates.
Gotcha. It is and it isn't. You don't have to read the Ultimates to get what is going on in this comic book. It is a description of who this guy is, why he became the Hawkeye, and then he winds up coming face to face with Clint, who is the last Ronin. And so these two fight each other in this issue. So that's what happens.
Do you feel like it was worthwhile to pick up, or?
No, because it's not. I don't feel like it gets you to learn about the character a little bit more, but I think it was a $6 comic. And I think in a grand scheme of things, it's one of those things where you don't really need it to understand what's going on in the Ultimates.
I thought Ultimate Hawkeye had already been introduced to, so that's interesting. Like, didn't we already have an issue of that?
This gives them a little bit of a deeper understanding, I guess, of him. But I thought it was going to be a miniseries at first when it
Mm.
was launched, and it was just a one shot. So I don't know why they came out with it, to tell you the truth.
If
But
it
it
was a
wasn't a bad
miniseries, I would
read.
have picked up the first issue because then it's like, oh, it's going somewhere. But because it was a one shot, it's like, oh, it really is probably just going to tie into what's going on in Ultimates.
Right, exactly. All right. So then we have Superman issue 30 here. So listen, we always talk about events and how events, at least from Marvel side of things, just kind of pop up out of nowhere. It just happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like last year you had Blood Hunt, right? Just happens. No real build up to
It was
it.
supposed to be a Blade movie, and then that didn't even
Right.
come out.
And then you had One World Under Doom that came out, which was a little bit built up. It came out of Blood Hunt, so I think Blood Hunt existed so they can lead into One World Under Doom, but it didn't feel like this big buildup, When it comes to Superman, and I would say Justice League Unlimited as well, like these books are building up to something big. You can feel the tension in this comic book when you read it. And I was like, this is really, really good.
I agree. And this is coming from someone who didn't like last issue because I don't like the Legion of Superheroes. And I really like this issue because I think it was more about building to that event. And this almost was our title for the show, but making it pretty obvious where the Superman family is going to be when it comes to DCKO, because they show Darkseid here, they show Lex Luthor, and they have Superman as well. So that they're going to be bigger parts of this event. I really liked it, and having Dan Mora do so much art and still have like perfect art. I don't know how he's doing it, but he's as good as he is in every issue, and he's doing so many comics. So I really was impressed by this issue. And again, this is coming from somebody who wouldn't normally like something like this because of the Legion of Superheroes connection. But even Superman Prime, a character, Superboy Prime, a character that I'm not, connected to because I didn't grow up with Death of Superman. Obviously, I've read it, but I know like people really love the 90s Superman. I even liked his arc here. I thought it was menacing.
He was really good in this issue too.
Yeah,
I love
it was
the end
great.
of it.
Yeah, I really liked it a lot.
Yep. Got a question here. It says, Mike, are you going to help fund the Spider-Man John Romita Jr. newspaper books on Kickstarter? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Okay. I didn't either, and I am the queen of knowing everything that's on Kickstarter, so I didn't even know that was existing.
So I don't know. I'll have to take a look at it and see. But hey, it's John Romita Jr. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. So let's move on here to our number 4. What's your number 4?
Mine is Emma Frost, issue 4. I'm liking this series. I think the art is better than it needs to be for like a mini series.
A absolutely gorgeous looking book,
right? And I like Emma, and especially because like I like the series because it's not in this time period either. It feels very much like its own thing. I like Emma's relationships with all these people, the betrayals that she has, the team up with Mystique. It's just, like I said, it's a book that doesn't have to be this good, and it just kind of goes all out, and I'm very impressed by it.
I love like how sass she is, and I love like her personality, and then I love like how they put her in this Sentinel graveyard, and she was trying to just fight these Sentinels, and then obviously she gets rescued by Mystique in the issue. Overall, it's just a good book, and kind of seeing her on her heels, like you don't see that often. She's always very confident in what she needs to do in order to win her battles, right? And again, she's struggling in this series, and it's kind of good to see that struggle. But again, this took place in the past, as she is a newer character in this time period. So she is still developing herself as a character too.
I know, it's really cool. This is how you should be doing the solo series, is by doing stuff like this. Because this every single time someone's like, I don't know if we need solo series for X-Men, I'm like, I agree. But then I think of series like this, I'm like, but I still want Emma. This is such a good book.
Well, look at how many have come out.
Yeah, out of the 10. Yeah.
Yeah. Like every once in a while, you're going to get a decent one, So, but I'm happy with that one. All right. So what are we at? Number 4?
Number 4. Yeah.
My number 4 was Actually, Battle World issue 1. So this you
Ooh, we
want
have so many different opinions. I'm excited to hear your thoughts.
yeah. So when it comes to Battle World, this was a book where I had no idea what to expect on this. Okay. So when I got done reading it, I was just like, wow, that was actually pretty cool because you get this battle world that is created, and all the characters that are in this battle world are from different timelines, right? And at the end of the book, it explains to you each character that is in the comic book. And I think that helps with the reading at the same time. And it's something different from the regular battle world that we've had in the past in Secret Wars. And really, the main bad guy in this book is Arcade.
Right.
So this becomes a Avengers Arena type of Hunger Games book, which we've seen before, but this time it's with different timeline superheroes. And seeing those heroes interact with each other is quite interesting. You know, you got Ant-Man from a different timeline, you got Janet from a different timeline, you know, and you get a younger Spider-Man that's been Spider-Man maybe a couple months, and how those guys are going to interact and work together to survive in Arcade's arena, I think is going to be interesting, and I like that.
I thought the arcade thing was interesting in the end. I just didn't like how many characters were introduced. It was hard to get a feel of everyone. It is just an action issue. It's just like, all right, we're gonna fight this guy, we're gonna fight this guy. And obviously with Arcade, it's gonna be an action book too. Which, you know, there's nothing wrong with an action book. But again, it goes back to when you're reading so many books, this didn't stand out to me.
Right.
So yeah, and I didn't love Battle World as much as you and Brad did. So I think that's also probably a reason
Right.
as
And
well.
again, this is like, I think Chris Oates Gage is a decent writer.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
feel like it's not per se Battle World. It's more about, again, Arcade in his arena. I think that's what I think that's what this is going to be more like. I think it's going to be more like an Avengers arena than anything. And hopefully it is, because I remember when I read the original Avengers arena, really love that book, all the different characters that were in that. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Hopefully number 2 will be pretty solid. What does this say right here? Mike, you were reading my comment on my last question too quickly. It's not the son who did the Spider-Man newspaper strip. Oh, it's Senior. Okay, gotcha. My bad. So, you know, that might be something I back up for sure. We'll see what happens. Again, I gotta take a look at it and see, you know,
How much the tears are, I'm sure.
right, exactly. Okay, so let's move on to Immortal Batman issue 2.
I didn't
So
pick up
listen,
this issue.
I talked about it earlier. Immortal Batman is one of those fun comic books where I could see you get done reading it as a kid and you're like, dude, get me to the toy store. I want to buy these guys. That's what this book reminds me of. It's very Power Rangers-esque. It's very mixed with Batman. You get Bane in this comic book, which it is what it is, you know, not a bad book. It's kind of cool, but it's one of those things at the end of the day where I wasn't like, oh man, I got to read issue 3, because out of all the comic books I read this week, this one was the best. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't the greatest, you know? So it's just one of those books that I'm going to pass on. And then just right there with it, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Same thing. It's you got the Turtles facing against the Foot Clan, and they're all using each other's powers to get stronger, and they're fighting each other. And I'm going to say that there is an emotional aspect in this comic after issue 1 of what happened to Master Splinter, and we get to see kind of the Turtles splinter off from each other, and we kind of see Leo taking things in his own hands. And so there is more of I feel like a emotional story there, but again, it's one of those books that I don't need. And you guys do know that I'm not the biggest Power Ranger fan either. So
I like that the book reinvents itself after so many issues. That's something I enjoyed, and I do like the emotional pulp. I get it as someone who's not a Power Rangers fan. I actually think, I don't know, I feel like they actually cross over pretty well, because I was like, oh, I think they lead into Power Rangers more. But honestly, they both like share enough, because like obviously the big emotional pull is Splinter. But yeah, I think it really depends how invested you are to these franchises. I really like Ryan Parrott's writing, and I think he does a very good job at this series. But I understand when you're getting 30 books, maybe it's not going to be, in your poll. But I like having it in my poll. I think it's a really fun palate cleanser for me. Like, it's still a serious book when it comes to the emotions, but it's also mostly fun.
Right. Gotcha. We got a question here. It says, or comment. I want to see Patrol Head come back and Noctera. I thought
Noctera, I don't know what happened, dude.
I thought they were maybe, like, it did end, but I wasn't sure if they were going to actually come up with a volume 2 for it. So
I feel like with Scott Snyder at DC right now, I don't think it's going to be anytime soon.
I love that series, though. That series was so good. Absolutely loved it. All right. So with that being said, let's go to your number 3.
That was Superman. So we already talked about it.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because it's not Superman for me. I have the next one. Mine was Absolute Wonder Woman issue 12.
Okay,
you dropped it, didn't you?
I think I dropped it with last issue. It might have been this issue, but I think it was last issue.
Okay, so in this issue, Wonder Woman is in this maze still, right? And so she comes across an Atlantean, and I think she's been trapped in there, and she's kind of been going insane. And so Wonder Woman was deciding, do I need to keep this chick in here, or can I let her go? Lets her go. They escape this maze. There was a Amazonian in there as well, and we wind up finding out that something's going on with them as well as with the Amazons. But the big thing about this is there's the bad guy in this book, right? And she's running experiments on all of these people or creatures, whatever. And this is a spoiler, but I thought I would let you know, because this might make you get back onto the book again. Zatanna's in this book now.
Oh, that is fun. That is pretty cool.
She's being held up in a cell, and it looks like she might be going against Wonder Woman in the next issue or so.
That is pretty cool. It's a shame that I did drop Absolute Wonder Woman, because it's never been a bad book, but ever since I read it, I'm like, I'm not that big of a Wonder Woman fan, So that's why I was just like, again, goes back to trying to get less books on your pull list, but it was never a bad book. All the Absolute books are really good. I like all of them.
Right. Yeah. So I saw that. I was like, oh shit. I'm like, that is
cool.
going to be pretty cool. Yeah. So first time we get to see her. All right. So now we move on to, we talked about Black Cat. And then we got Twilight Zone.
This is, I'm guessing, an anthology type series, because the show is. So
yeah, it's going to be a one and done. I read it. I liked it. Again, it's a book that I just can't, I'm not going to read it going forward, because it's another anthology horror book. And I love horror, but it's just like, I don't need to read so many anthology books.
We also have a lot of horror books out there. So
they're not always my thing either, and the story inside of it, though, was good. And it's only one story. Fine. But it was, it was about this guy who had, I think it was like some kind of stomach cancer, if I remember correctly. And then what happened, he's gone to this scientist who's come up with a cure, but it's not quite ready yet. He still says it's like 10 years away from being ready. And this guy's like, well, I'm ready now. And he convinces this scientist to give it to him. So he's like, okay. So he gives him the serum, and the dude is like healed. He's like, oh my God. He's like, this is the greatest thing ever. But then when he wakes up, he's like patient zero. And because of whatever happened, made everybody have these blank faces. Like no one has a face anymore. And so he can stay on the island and not spread the disease, or he can take this chance and take this helicopter. And then if he goes to like another town or city, whatever it is, he's just going to spread it everywhere. So he just decides to take the helicopter and go away.
There you go.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it was pretty good. I mean, it's not bad, but it's going to be a different story every single
No,
month.
it's harder to follow those for sure, which is why I didn't pick it up, because it's just harder. Like, I'm not a hardcore Twilight Zone fan, so I'm just like, all right, it's gonna be an anthology series. Some issues you're gonna like, and then some issues you won't.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those books. I think the comment that I made was, if there is a story in there that you might like that particular month, then you buy it. If not, then you leave it on the shelf that month. It's that type of story.
You know what the solicits are going to say, so they'll describe what the book is. We do have a question from Mike Manhattan. Did you guys see Marvel Zombies? I didn't, and I also haven't heard like any buzz really. Like, I've heard people watching it, but not like, this is great. I've been catching up with Peacemaker.
I watched the first episode so far.
And did you like it?
I liked the first. It took a little while to get you into it because they got to set things up.
Sure.
Right. But
it's animated, right?
Yeah. It comes off. It's spinning off of like What If series. But it's fine. It's got like who is it? It's got Kamala in it. It's got Kate. It's got, is it Riri? I think Riri Williams was in it.
I like all those characters. So.
Yeah. So it's got quite a few characters in there. And then it's got like some of the Thunderbolts in there, like the Red Guardian and the new Black Widow. And so it's kind of cool when you got Moon Knight in there, who's a mashup with Blade. So that's kind of cool too. So yeah, it's not bad. Let's see what happens.
Oh, it's a mini? It's only 5 issues? What is with these ending these series? Yeah. That's crazy. For Twilight Zone, for you guys listening.
Okay, so going on to number 2. What's your number 2?
Mine is Spider-Gwen. I saw someone hate for Spider-Gwen, but I do think it was Tevye. So I don't know if I trust your Spider-Gwen opinions, Tevye. But I really like this series. If you enjoy horror in particular, it's like a slasher book where this villain is attacking all of Gwen's bandmates, and you really get to see the anger out of Gwen in this issue, where she just wants to freaking kill this thing, and then she like hunts down this guy, and she thinks it's him, and then it ends up being someone else. So I like the vibe of it. I'm enjoying it. I like this book.
Gotcha. All right, I liked it. I just wasn't in my top, and
understandable.
It's one of those things where it's like, if this book drops like in in
tone,
yeah, I could drop it, but it wasn't bad. Like, I'm curious to see what the murderer is and where it comes from, right? And it is very dark toned, very street level type of book.
And I like her. I think I think Stephanie Phillips understands who this character is, because she's not Gwen Stacy of the 616. No, she does have a lot of anger in her. She is this character, which I like.
Right.
Yeah, Mike Manhattan asks if she has the symbiote suit. Not anymore. That was retcon. So it's just, she just has her powers again.
But the thing that's murdering people, I think, is a symbiote.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's something I'm interested to see. I'm sure it'll be connected to that. And obviously they took away those powers. So Mike Manhattan also asks if we saw a revival. I haven't seen the show, but I love the comic book.
Oh, is it out now?
Yeah, the sci-fi show. I think it's all the episodes are out. So,
gotcha. All right. So now we're into where are we at? Oh, that was your number 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My number 2 is actually a combination of comics. I don't usually do this, but I think they go hand in hand with each other. Superman issue 30 and Justice League Unlimited issue 11.
That makes sense. Because I didn't know you were still reading Unlimited.
I don't, but since it's connected to KO, this is officially a prelude to DC KO. So when I got Superman, the comic shop manager told me, read Superman first, then read Justice League Unlimited second. And when you do read it, it does make sense. And this was one of the better issues because you wind up getting to see the Justice League characters, which is only a certain amount of them, because no one can make it to the Watchtower because it is being destroyed by the Time Trapper, who is Doomsday, as he suffered almost a fatal injury. And it's causing like his time stream or his Omega energy or whatever to spew out and causing the Watchtower to just age significantly. And we get to see our heroes race against time to trying to keep the Watchtower together. So it's pretty interesting. It was very hectic and insane. And then it all ties into with Superman arriving on the Watchtower with Booster Gold, as you got to see him take out Booster Gold at the end of the Superman issue.
I didn't even know they connected. So that is interesting. Is the next Justice League Unlimited also Prelude, or was it just this issue?
At that point, I think we might be into it.
KO.
Yeah,
because I think it's next month, so that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, I did not read that issue because I did not know, and I did drop Unlimited a while ago. So that's cool that, again, and I'm guessing Dan Mora did the art for Unlimited too, because he's been doing the art.
Not for Unlimited, not for this issue. Yeah, it was different.
Okay. But great books. If you're not reading, first of all, Superman is like one of the most consistent superhero books there is. Like it's been consistent. Yeah, and it's been like 3 years this book has been out. It's like usually you have that 1 year where it's like that's a great book. Like Nightwing's a good example. We love Nightwing in its first year, and then it kind of dropped. Superman, like I agree, it's been going up and up, and it's been like a 3-year run, and it's still fantastic.
Oh, Kat, this popped in my mind the other day when I was walking my dog. I'm happy I remember this. So remember Joshua Williamson wrote the Robin series? Do you remember how they had a tournament on
the Lazarus.
Island? The Lazarus Island? Same thing with DCKO. It's just in a much grander scale. And
that was a great story too, and I remember it felt satisfying, the ending. So I honestly, Joshua Williamson has done no wrong for me. I don't remember a book that I disliked from him. I loved Robin, loved his Green Arrow run, loved Dark Ride, loved this. Like there is not a Joshua Williamson book I dislike. So I dislike his writing. Actually, I don't think any of us have read Williamson's Flash. I should go back to read it.
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah.
And then we got this one. It says, do you guys remember what happened to Silver Coin series? It ran for about 17 issues. If I remember correctly.
I didn't know it disappeared. I don't think either of us read Silver Coin, but I'm guessing it's just James
read it, but I didn't read it like forever. So I just thought maybe it ended. Maybe it just randomly ended.
Tiny was part of it, so maybe him doing his Tiny Onion stuff made that fade away.
It was different writers that did an issue.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. I guess it just kind of disappeared, is my guess, because that does happen with some image books where it's like it's gonna be back and then it never is.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's move on to Green Lantern issue 27. I love this issue. I thought this issue was great. This is the issue where you get the emotional spectrum back. It's back. I think Jeremy Adams, it took him 27 issues to do what he needed to do, but it's finally back to where you're going to get all the cores, all the colors. You got all the characters back. Very well done. And I love how John Stewart basically sacrificed himself in order to get this done. I thought this was a great issue.
It felt more like a core issue than
but they've been tying in with each other.
Yeah, they happen. I think that was my one nitpick. I was like, I don't love John Stewart as character, so I was just like, oh, I expect this from Core. When I'm reading Green Lantern, I expect like a Hal story. But yeah, no, I love how they're connected. I really do like the mythology building, and Jeremy Adams just has been killing it with Green Lantern. So it really reminds me a lot of Jeff Johns' run because that felt interconnected as well.
Yeah, and I think like Green Lantern was at its best when you did have all those colors, just because you have all these characters that you can work with. When you take away all of those characters in the universe because you destroyed the emotional spectrum, then what do you have? What did you have for the past so many years with Green Lantern? Nothing. Like, you had absolutely nothing. You had a random Hal Jordan series by Grant Morrison, right?
That
And
wasn't.
it just did not deliver at all. So now it's like you bring back all these characters. Now you got enemies, you got good guys, you got the core, you got everybody back. And I think that's great, You
I
can
genuinely don't
tell your
remember what
story.
happened to Green Lantern before this run. Like you said, there was the Grant Morrison one, but what was before that? I don't
I
even
don't even think they
remember.
had this.
That's crazy.
I can't remember either. I think there was a
Yeah.
while where they didn't even have a Hal Jordan series.
That's crazy to me. That's wild. But yeah, I don't remember either. Maybe we were just not reading it. That's why I was like, maybe we just didn't read it. But I don't remember anything besides that Grant Morrison run. That I think I picked up the first issue and I
Yeah, I
dropped.
didn't. Yeah, me too. I was
Yeah.
like, oh God, this is horrible. I
Yeah.
was like,
And
that
the
can't be
art did
right.
not match what you would expect. And I usually like Liam Sharp. But I remember being like, oh, this is weird. It was not my
It's
favorite.
like too trippy.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very
Yeah.
trippy, but which is Grant Morrison.
All right. So what was your number one this week?
Mine was The Thing, issue 5. I actually thought it was a really satisfying ending. I love how much Yancey Street was a character. I thought the relationship between the Thing and the girl and the mom was really interesting. I just felt like it was a really feel good superhero story, and it shows this is what you can do with a solo story with the Thing. And it's Tony Fleecs at his best. He's so good at character work, and I think this is a very underrated our series, but I had a really good time with it.
Excuse me. I did too. I really enjoyed this book. It was a nice surprise,
Good ending.
yeah, with a good ending. It was a great conclusion. And it's just like and that uncle, oh my gosh, what an asshole he was to
I
do that to his
know.
niece. I couldn't believe it. It was so sad to actually see that, and but it was overall just a great and fun story. And he got who Ben Grimm actually is, and that's what made it so good.
I agree. It was like his essence was like all over this. And again, that girl was a lot of fun. Sometimes when you have a random character that shows up, it's like, why is she
Yeah.
here? But like she played really well throughout the series.
And seeing like all the different villains throughout the series too was really good, and they were done in their classic style. That's what I
Yeah.
enjoyed about it.
Pick up the Thing, guys. It don't let it go under your radar because it actually ended good. Because again, sometimes a miniseries starts so good and you're like, it fails in the ending, but that didn't happen here. It
Yeah.
actually had a good ending.
My number one was Green Lantern issue
I
27.
figured after you're talking about it.
Yeah, just awesome for me. And a Green Lantern book, I don't think has been number one in quite some time.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time you had me when Jeff Johns ended
Yeah,
his run.
right. All right, so I'm going to hand it over to you for the most
Sure.
anticipated here.
So I'm just gonna read Brant's that didn't line up with ours just so we could talk about it. Just like the Omega Act special issue 1. This is like the culmination, I believe, of everything that's been going on in Justice League and everything that's gonna build up the DCKO. This
Yeah.
was close for me, but obviously we're gonna have so much of that in the future. But yeah, I'm gonna pick it up for sure.
Yep, I am too. I definitely will pick this up. Anything with KO, I don't think it's an overwhelming event. I think they have so many tie-ins, but I will be definitely picking up that stuff.
And for me, one that I have that you guys don't have, it's my number 2, is Absolute Green Lantern issue 7. I really like this series. It's probably my favorite Absolute title. I like where it ended with Joe and Agent Chase. I just have a really fun time with this one. So
You will have Riley Rosmo's artwork in this issue.
never mind. I guess I'm not as excited. Oh no.
It might be
How long?
different though. I mean, like he did The Moon is Following Us, and I felt his artwork in there was fine.
Yeah.
It was just that Robin series that didn't work. I have no idea. I mean, being that this is more of like a space and fantasy, like anime style book, it might work. It might work here. So we'll see.
I hope so. I did not know that. I want to see how long, if it's just one issue or not, because I love the artist for this book. I really like that anime style. He is going to be in. Oh yeah, we get to see. It's just a filler, so it's just this issue that he's going to be doing.
Gotcha.
So, and we get the regular artist. So you and Brant have Rook Exodus as your number 1.
Rook Exodus makes its return. and
Been a
I
while.
am pumped. I mean, this thing has been gone for a year, and it's finally coming back. I mean, oh my God, this book could not come quick enough. It's just probably one of my most highly anticipated books of the year. I mean, it's just I'm not excited for it. The artwork by Jason Fabok is just absolutely amazing. I can't wait to get recapped on like where we last left off with the series. It's just a beautiful book, and I love it. I can't. There's not words to describe this book. If you haven't read it and you like science fiction, you like end of the world, apocalyptic type of stuff, I mean, go for this book. You just won't be disappointed with it.
We also both have Venom issue 250. That's my number one. That's your number three. I mean, I feel like some big stuff is gonna happen. We have what's his face returning?
No.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Noel's returning. He's getting his own mini series because of this issue. I want to see what MJ's about. It's so funny because I talk about this series in particular with my friends who don't read comics, and they're just like, oh, like, so is this like in universe? And I'm like, yeah, it is. And it's just kind of fun. And it's just like, but it's like kind of ridiculous all at the same time. So I'm really excited to see them do an anniversary issue, bring in this serious villain with this crazy version of MJ and Venom. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I am too. I am really interested just to see like what Noel is going to do and how he's going to act with Venom and Mary Jane, and where does the series go after that? You know, that's what I'm curious about, you know,
because we know she's Venom. She's still Venom after this.
Yeah, and then Mike says, well, what's Paul doing? You know, are they going to keep tabs of Paul? Like, is Paul going to go like in his own apartment? And
exactly, is he going to move out?
Right, is he going to move out?
Share
is he
space?
just going to be sitting on the couch like this, you know, and just like being all depressed? And it's just like I kind of want to see that. I'm not going to lie, you know.
Yeah,
I want to see him be miserable.
We need to keep tabs on Paul. I'm very excited about it, but it's a great series. If you guys can have fun, I think you guys will like it. And last but not least, my number 3 and your number 2 is Batman issue 2. I thought issue 1 was phenomenal. This also seems like it's going to be focusing on Robin. I want to see where issue 2 is, because if it's just as good, I know it's going to be a great run. And it wasn't just a fluke with issue 1.
Yeah, I think Matt Fraction's onto something here, and I think the book is gorgeous. I think it complements his writing pretty well, and I'm just really excited for it. I really liked the first issue. I thought just seeing all the new gadgets and just, you know, kind of almost like a reintroduction to Batman, even though everyone knows who he is. You know, you kind of get to see him emotionally at this point in time, and you know, him talking to Killer Croc as a toddler, and it's just like, you know what, is Batman broken? I mean, yeah, I think he is. You know, he may not want to admit it, but yeah, I think he pointed out something there. And then whether, you know, Alfred is AI or not, which I think maybe, you know, he could be his figment of his imagination in this series, and you know, he's relying on an imaginary Alfred to talk to. Like, yeah, there is something there. Maybe he's experiencing some kind of depression or loneliness, you know. I don't know, but it'll be cool to see Tim Drake back in this series again, and let's hope that this time he stays in it, where unlike last time he just dropped off of it out of nowhere.
No, and I that's where I think the key could be, is that Tim would be really involved, because we're not seeing Tim anywhere else. Like we see Jason, we see obviously Dick Grayson, but Tim just doesn't have as much spotlight. And obviously Damian, especially, we get a lot of. So I wanna see more Tim. Very excited for that book. That's it. That's our show. So we're gonna close out, and we miss Brant, but hopefully we'll see him next week.
Yep. Yeah. Hopefully he will be back. So hopefully you guys had a fun time. We had a great show tonight. A lot of discussion, great comic talk. You know, tomorrow we get a lot of books once again. I think I'm getting 23 books tomorrow. And then guys, this is the month of October, the month where things kick off, and it's going to be big.
And New York
Not
Comic
only,
Con is next week, so we're gonna get. Well, we won't get the news this Tuesday, so our show next week, but the week after we'll also have all the New York Comic Con stuff.
yeah, I mean, not only are we getting DCKO coming out, you are getting that Age of Revelation coming out, plus all the great indie books. I think next week you're going to get like Transformers issue 25. You're going to get KO. You're going to get Absolute Batman with
Catwoman.
Catwoman in there. I like next week is going to be huge. So just be prepared for next week. So I can't wait for that show, man. That's going to be a big one. Yeah.
And it's funny because that usually when it's New York Comic Con week, I try not to review my comics just because I'm going to be an artist alley. So I usually set up on Wednesday and we go to the show. But because it's such a big comic week, I'm like trying to read all my books before I go to the show. That we're like, I want to read it all. Like I want to, get into it.
So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all the wonderful, kind words. Glad we could bring the show to you this week. And as always, guys, make sure you subscribe to Cat Comic Uno's channel. Subscribe to my channel, Comic Book Corner 2.0. Hit the notification bells. Give it a thumbs up. Give this show a thumbs up on your way out. And as always, guys, I'm going to tell you now, have a great new comic book day. And we'll see you all next week. Take care, guys. Have a good night.